Well, hi, good morning, everybody. For those of you who are here again, welcome to another day of this conference. Yesterday was jam-packed, and it's hard to decide what to go to next. So that's the only downfall of having simultaneous sessions. This morning, we are going to listen to Janet House present on the effectiveness of learning course concepts through online simulations. Online simulations is in essence all the rage, and it's nice when we actually have tools to help us do that. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and they'll be addressed generally at the end, or if in fact it applies immediately, I'll try to get Janet's attention. So with that, Janet, it's all on you now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate that. I'm going to share my screen with you because I do have a PowerPoint, and I'm going to go through the PowerPoint, and then I would like to go through a quick simulation with you to show you how the simulation works. So as you see, the title is The Effectiveness of Learning Course Concepts Through Online Simulations. And it's not advancing. Why is that?
If you need to go back, oh, okay, you got it.
I got it. Okay. So the purpose of my study was I did this in a sport management class, and the class that I was teaching it in was contemporary issues in sports course. And I did it in the spring of 2024. Now I have done the simulations in this class before, but I'm going to speak specifically about my class this past spring. Now, this is the last sport class that the students take before they graduate. It's not necessarily considered the capstone class because the students in the sport class take a capstone class with management students and accounting students because we're all in the business department. But what I was noticing in our program is that the students weren't getting all the information that they may need to go out to work, such as ticketing, maybe some transportation issues, some general management concerns. So we do teach them event management, we do teach them venue management, we do teach them marketing, but there's some other course concepts that maybe they need that we're not teaching them. So I thought, why not try to fit that in this class? So I was looking for a way to do this without trying to lecture at them. So my class has had 9 students in it. I did do a survey of the students at the end of the class. So it is a pilot study, if you will, and I do have it's an IRB approved study. I did a literature review, obviously before I did the IRB, because I was looking to try to do this through simulations, how to get students some information on ticketing, on transportation, on different ideas or concepts that the students need. And, I read that simulation-based learning, it might seem relatively new, but actually it's been around for quite a long time. Nursing has used it for quite a while. And these online simulations are of course, computer-based, which the students love. They're hands-on, they're learning practical applications, in real time. So I reached out to Knowledge Matters. Knowledge Matters, it has these online simulations. I'm not here to sell you Knowledge Matters today, but please know I love it. It works for me and it works for my class. So there are other companies that have simulations, and if you're interested in simulations, please look into them. But I use Knowledge Matters. Knowledge Matters has lots of case simulations for different disciplines, which is why I really liked it. So I use the sports management one. And in the sport management one, they actually have 2 phases, and it's a learning phase and a challenge phase. The learning phase takes the student step by step through each element that they have to do to get to the end. And then in the challenge phase, that phase tells the student, you need to reach this goal. And then they need to go through each step that they did in the learning phase to reach that goal. So they don't take them necessarily step by step because they did that in the learning phase. Now, each of these phases is graded. So if the student, when they go through the learning phase, if they have followed step by step, they should get 100. I have had students that will skip steps, because they want to get to the end quickly. And so they'll might find that a little bit challenging because they don't get the 100. But in the challenge phase, they can't skip a step because they won't get to the goal they need to get to. But what's interesting about this and what Knowledge Matters does is that the professor can set the level of difficulty from, low, medium, and high difficulty. And they also can set the number of attempts from 1, 2, 3, and unlimited. And that works out really well for the students. So these are the 14 different phases or 14 different challenges that the students have to go through. And you don't have to use them all in Knowledge Matters. That's the one thing I do like about them. You can pick and choose the ones you want. I happen to use them all. It just works in my schedule of classes. We do some in the class and the students do some for homework. But I always start in the class with the ticket pricing one. It's a very easy one. And we do the learning phase together. And if needed, I'll do the challenge phase with them. But the learning phase is the easiest one. And then they get increasingly more difficult. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to stop sharing this screen. And I want to show you, number one, the instructor material. And then I want to show you the actual simulation. So I'm going to stop sharing that. So hopefully, do you see case simulations, teaching notes on the screen? Okay, good.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the teaching notes that the professor will get. And the students get a little one sheet information that tells them what they're doing that day. Usually they're in charge of ticketing for that day or parking for that day or whatever it is, and they tell them what their goal is. And the teacher will also get questions to ask students to help with discussion later. So these are the teaching notes for ticket pricing, and these will help you work through the ticket pricing learning phase and challenge phase. And I'm going to go to the challenge phase. So I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to go over to, so hopefully you see ticket pricing with a football stadium. Yes. Okay.
Yes, that's there.
Great. So going back to the first step, because I did this a couple of times to make sure it will work for you. So the first step tells them it's only 4 steps, which is why I chose this one for you today. This one will tell them that you're going to continue pricing, be the pricing manager for the Stallions. That's the football team. And at this point of the season, you're where you left off at the learning phase. And your goal is now to adjust the prices for your remaining sections to make sure a specific profit is made. Now, there are several games that the students can do this. So if they don't make the profit in the first game, which they probably won't, they have several other games to do. So I'm going to go to actions, and where the one is in bold, that's really the only one the student can adjust. And I'm going to adjust all the prices I'm going to do 30 all the way down except for the last one. Wouldn't you like to go to a professional football game for $50 and have the best seat in the house? I'm going to pick October 22nd. I'm going to set prices, hit OK. I'm going to close that. And now I'm going to hit start. And you'll see the stadium start to fill up as it gets to the date of October 22nd. And you saw the game run, and you saw that it's very quick because the speed was also set at a very quick pace. And that's something else you can adjust as well. You can adjust the speed to be very slow or very fast. So there's a lot of things that you can do with this. Now, you get the ticket sales, you get the revenue information of what was made that day, 100% sold out, which is what you want. But did you make the profit you wanted selling the tickets at only $30 and $50? Okay. Total concession profit was $65. one way to find out is going to reports and go to your financial, and the students would see here how much of a profit they made that day. Well, the profit is minus $43,000. So it's not as good as it should be. They would keep working on the simulation till they get to what they want. The other thing you'll notice that I want to point out before we go back is the student will see their grade here as they go along, so they know how they're doing. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this and I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. And these are some of the simulations that we just looked at. I just put them here as screenshots in case the simulation didn't work. So I'm going to fast forward through that. So in my survey, I did ask some questions, as anyone would. Was the difficulty level accurate? Of course, 88% of the students said yes. Did you have enough opportunities to complete the simulation successfully? Again, 88% said yes. Nobody said no, but one student said, well, maybe. I guess they weren't really sure. Maybe they needed more opportunities. And then I asked other questions as well. Would you like to see more simulations? And it was very positive. Yes, they liked it. They felt that they learned course concepts as they needed to. And then I wanted to show you grades before I end here. So from the very easiest one, ticket pricing, down to the more difficult one, and concessions and promotion are right in the middle. You'll see the average grade from learning phase down to challenge phase. High A's, as you see, concessions, because it's in the middle, challenge phase was a high B. Promotions got high A's. But you'll see down here at general management, advanced sport franchise, this is where the students get to be the general manager of the event, of the team. The average grade was actually a D or a D minus, because it is very difficult. Now this 92.37 is the average grade for all 14 simulations, both learning and challenge phase. So this is not indicative of all these, it's indicative of all the phases. Okay, so overall the students actually did very well. Those are my references, and that's the end of my presentation. And if you'd like to email me, my email is there. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I don't see anything in the chat, and I don't see anything in the Q&A area either, but feel free to put it in there while we still have you here. But can you talk a little bit about the simulation software itself and how you found it, and maybe what the cost would be?
Sure. Oh, yes. Thank you. I meant to talk about the cost. So I learned about Knowledge Matters. Actually, I went to another conference, and they had sponsored that conference and had talked about Knowledge Matters. And so that's why I reached out to them, because I thought it was very interesting, and I had been looking for something for quite a long time. And so that's how I found out about them. And the cost, there's two costs to it. One is if you just use the simulations as I do, the cost was $40. If you do the simulations with testing, like they have exams or quizzes, it's about $80. I don't use the quizzes because this is an upper level class, the last class. I don't want to stress the students out with quizzes, because actually these challenge phases can be challenging enough for them. And because they are graded, I don't use quizzes for them. And so I don't do the 80, but I do the 40. And that's one of the questions I asked, was the price, and did they feel it was, affordable for them? And all the students said yes, except for one who wished it was free.
Oh,
Right?
so it was a student cost.
Yeah. So I don't have a textbook for the class.
Yeah.
So I felt $40 was, reasonable for them.
Right. Do you know if that company, I can't remember what it's called, has licensing for schools like ours, like online universities who may want to do that? It's a little bit more challenging because we have, monthly or so start dates. And so it's like an ongoing set of students that's starting and perhaps using even just that one simulation that you showed us.
I don't know. ins and outs of all of that, but I'm sure they would work with you.
Yeah.
If you want to send me an email, I can send you Maureen's email from Knowledge Matters. She's very nice and she's willing to work with everyone.
Yeah,
Again,
that's,
I don't also know if the pricing will stay the same because the costs go up all the time.
yeah, that's true. So to kind of piggyback on my initial questions, one of our department chairs, other than me, is asking, is the simulation friendly to many operating systems and web browsers? That's first. How is student help managed if they have issues? And can it be integrated into an online learning platform like ours, which is called My Classroom?
Yes, so actually I integrated into Blackboard because that's what we use, but yes, and they will actually help you integrate it into your learning platform. They're
Good.
very nice that way because even though I've used it 3 times, I can never remember how to integrate it because I only do it once a year for one class.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
I would say check it out with them if you're really interested. Absolutely. And I'm sorry, did I answer your first question?
Let's see, how is student help managed if they have issues?
They do have a help desk. And because I only have a few students, I reach out to their IT if I need to, or to their the salesperson who will reach out to their IT for me. For a larger university, I assume the student would have to reach out to their IT, especially if you're an online university,
Yeah.
if there's issues. There was an issue, I had an issue with the grade not going into the grade book, but that had to do with the student wouldn't finish the simulation
Mm-hmm.
and hit submit. So he kept going back to redo it without hitting submit because he didn't want that grade to go in, and it will only take the highest grade. So it ended up being a problem. So that's one thing you have to stress to the students is you have to hit submit at the end.
So he wanted the highest grade, but he ended up with a no grade because he didn't finish.
Exactly. Exactly. So
That's
but what the professor can do is go in and see the grades that they received
Yeah.
on the back end. So I was able to find his grade, but because he didn't do what he was supposed to do, you're right. He ended up with no grade until I could go into the back end.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And then one of our sport management faculty, Scott Johnson, says that the company's representative has presented information during their faculty meeting. So
Oh, great. Okay.
the product is
Oh.
known. I don't know the ins and outs of the technical aspects. So, all right. So, if any more questions are imminent, you can, attendees, you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, it seems like Janet has finished and her information. I don't know how the slides actually are shared afterwards, but I do know that you put up your contact information as the last
I can
slide.
put it in the chat.
Okay,
Excuse
yep.
me. I,
So
I
give you a
didn't,
couple
yeah, I
seconds
didn't mean to
there.
interrupt you, Karen. My
Nope.
bad.
No, that's good. Then the chat is good, so I'll hold for
Mhm.
that. There you go.
It's my
Oh,
full name at usj.edu.
actually, you know what? I'm going to take that because that came to me. And I'll have it. And then
Oh, I did do it to you.
that's okay. I got it. There we go. That's for everybody.
Excellent. Thank you.
And yes. All right. Well, thank you so very much. And I know that you'll be enjoying our next presentation or several of them because there's a lot to choose from. And for those attending, our next presentation starts at 9:40. And thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.